and welcome to this week's YouTube video. Today I'm going to talk about black, specifically ivory black, and whether you should use it in your paintings or mix your own rich black instead. I would suggest doing both and would like to explain why in this video. Everybody's palette is different, but I am basing my view on a palette that includes red, yellow and blue, and of course white. In my palette I have two yellows, cadmium yellow and yellow ochre light. Cadmium yellow is my warmest, most saturated yellow. It is opaque. In comparison to cadmium yellow, yellow ochre light is not as saturated and more muted. It is also transparent. If you paint alla prima, you can paint a transparent colour over an opaque colour without muddying them up. Yellow ochre light is still a warm temperature, but just not as strong as cadmium yellow. So I have two yellows in my palette, a warm yellow and a cooler, more muted yellow, an opaque yellow and a transparent yellow. Having these two yellows gives me more options for mixing. I also have two reds in my palette, cadmium red and alizarin crimson. Cadmium red is my warmest, most saturated red. It is opaque. Alizarin crimson is not as saturated as cadmium red. It is more muted and transparent. So I have two reds in my palette, a warm red and a cooler, more muted red, an opaque red and a transparent red. Again, having these two reds gives me more options for mixing. Lastly, I have two blues in my palette. Ultramarine Deep is my coolest colour on my palette and it is my most saturated dark. Ultramarine Deep is transparent. Ivory Black is my more muted blue. Remember that Ivory Black has a blue leaning and so can be used as a blue. It is not as saturated as Ultramarine Deep, nor is it as cool, but it is semi-transparent, which means I can lay it first and then paint more transparent colours over the top. So looking at my palette then, I have two reds, two yellows, two blues. I have saturated colours and less saturated colours. I have three transparent colours and three opaque colours. If I remove black from my palette, I have removed my muted blue and my semi-opaque blue. This gives me less options for mixing as my dark colours will now all be transparent. Opaque colours cover what is underneath them and you can paint transparent colours over the top more easily. So my black is a useful colour to have in my palette. But my colours have gone muddy using black. This will happen for a number of reasons. Number one, bad colour choices. You've just mixed the wrong colours and used too much black in all your mixing. Black has quite a strong tinting strength and so will knock the saturation out of your colours. If you use too much of it to darken all your colours, your painting may look dull. Number two, you have too many warm temperatures together. A balanced painting needs a balance of both warm and cool temperatures to work. Remember the rule, cool light equals warm shadows and warm light equals cool shadows. Number three, you have used opaque colours over transparent colours. Remember, black is semi-opaque. Opaque colours will pull up the colour from underneath paint if you are laying opaque over transparent. If you're doing this, you need to use a very soft-haired brush that will not disturb your transparent layer too much. Bear in mind also that you can adjust the temperature of your black very easily. You can warm it up by adding red, yellow or orange. You can also cool black down even further by adding ultramarine. If, however, you need a transparent dark on your palette, you can mix up a rich black. You can do this by mixing burnt umber and ultramarine together. I do not have burnt umber in my palette, so I mix alizarin crimson, ultramarine deep and cadmium yellow in equal amounts to give me my brown. I then add my blue. This gives me my rich transparent black. I can control the temperature shift easily too with adding more brown to make it warmer or more blue to make it cooler. I like to have both a rich black and my ivory black on my palette. I work with both in my paintings. For example, in my painting of Fin, I have used my black in these areas here as a rich black. Notice how punchy my rich blacks look against my regular black. I have also used my rich black in my mid-tone areas here, but my ivory black in this area down here. Again, notice how much more punchy the colours of the face are in comparison to the foot, which I just wanted to suggest. I didn't want the foot to compete with the face, and so used my more muted ivory black. I therefore think that keeping black in your palette will give more mixing options for your paintings. Black, like any other colour, will affect the outcome of your paintings negatively if it is not used correctly. I hope you have enjoyed today's video and found it useful. Please like and subscribe if you can, and check out my website sarahhallidayart.com, where you will find examples of my work and also details of online classes that I run. Thank you for watching, and see you for the next one.